Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Premier League 2025-2026 season review.
I'm on my way. You might work, but I work harder. You might fight, but I fight smarter. Might not be on top of the world, but hey, I'm on my way. You might fly, but I fly higher. You're so hot, but I'm on fire. Might not be on top of the world, but hey, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
So I'm back with the boys once again. Another Premier League season has come and gone. I swear to God, it feels like they go quicker and quicker each and every year. But here we are. It does not feel that long ago. The five of us. I'll get onto where Luke is at the minute. But the five of us uh, last year were predicting the start of the season, and here we are, the end of the season, gone like that. So, in this video, we were talking about how we think our teams have done this Premier League season. We'll also be covering stats, top 10, relegation zone. I will have timestamps in the video if you just want to get to a certain point with a certain fan of the club, like Brighton, Newcastle, Everton, Arsenal, Liverpool will be timestamps. So, yes, as always, we will start with Brighton and Hove Albion. So, James, despite a last day thumping by Man United, despite that, you have gone on to finish, what, eighth?
Yeah,
Europa League spot on 53 points. How are you feeling?
yeah, conference, not Europa, but a
Oh, is
conference
it? To the
less.
conference. Oh, I thought it was
Yeah,
Europa.
conference.
Oh, it's my mistake.
So we thank you very much at Liverpool for drawing 1-1 Brentford, thus getting us that point. Despite getting absolutely battered by United, we are Conference League, which probably is easier to win than the Europa League. Although I really, really, really hope that Rayo Vallecano please beat Palace on Wednesday. I can't deal with them but winning a European trophy. They probably will win,
Yeah.
but I really hope they don't. So it's been an alright season. It's started really well. Then we hit a massive slump in February where we were worried. I think before I think it was a Nottingham Forest game. We were worried about if we lose this, we're relegation candidates. We might go down and stuff. And then there were calls for Hertzler out, and I was one of those. I was like, do you know what? I think he's not ready for the job. He's not the right person. And then we just kept winning and winning and winning. Apart from a couple of games, we just won I think we won 7 out of 6 games. The only one being a loss to Arsenal. And then suddenly we went from 15th up to 6th, and then we were just in the Europa spots for the rest of the season, and just narrowly missed out in Europa League. But I'll take conference. I think Welbeck's been a godsend. How he's on the England squad, I don't know. How Ivan Toney's in the England squad, I don't know. But that's been debated by lots of people. Welbeck should be there. Anyway, 13 goals. It's a joint most for a Brighton player in a single Premier League season. He's still a top scorer. He is getting better and better with age, like a fine wine. And long may that continue. Apart from that, Pascal Gross coming back in January was just what we needed to have that little bit of oomph. I think we really missed him when we signed to Dortmund, and now he's back. He's just slotted back into the midfield, and he's just running the show as per usual. Kadioglu, our player of the season for Brighton, he's been fantastic on the left. Whether that was a left back or a left winger or even a right winger, he's just very versatile. He's just everywhere on the pitch popping up. Our defense has been okay. I think Van Heck has been our main defender. A few mistakes. Potentially going to a Champions League club in the summer. Wants to leave, which is sad. But I think there'll be other players that will find they'll bring in and stuff. I think Boskakli looks pretty good. Coppola can come back from Paris FC. Lewis Dunk is still. He's got 2 feet, I guess, and he's still kicking about. Matoma's been injured a bit. He's been really good. Milner broke the all-time Premier League records appearances this season, so congrats to him.
Yeah.
Well,
I always forget he played for Newcastle. It was so long ago.
a lot of his games recently have been 2-minute appearances, which counts as an appearance. So I think Gareth Barry is far ahead of him in terms of actual minutes, but congrats to Milner for that. So yeah, it's been a good season. I think I must have predicted us to come like top 10, maybe sixth or seventh. So I'll take eighth. I think European football, build on that, get some good players in. Actually have a good run at competition. We could very easily. I've not seen who else qualified for the Conference League yet, but could quite easily win or at least get to like the semi-finals, final. So that's a chance for a cup run. So I'm happy he signed the new contract, Hertzler, for 3 years, I think it is. So they clearly trust him, and they'll hopefully back him in the summer transfer. So yeah, long may they continue. Up the Albion and Palace, you're going to lose.
Um, yeah, it's been a great season for Brighton. Definitely, I think eighth is a very very strong position. Let's face it, I think he'll definitely win the Conference League. I think he's probably by a mile. I think the other teams in it are like European Championship level, like League One
You,
level.
you say that, but I know Brighton, and there's a good chance we'll mess it up.
If Palace can get to the final, who are like what
Well,
are
yeah,
they?
true.
So I think these will be strong favourites to win that next season. But yeah,
Hopefully.
anything, Matt, Callum, you want to add on Brighton?
Not really. I mean, just a strong, just a
Oh
strong
yeah, thanks,
season.
Callum.
To be fair, well, I'm trying to compliment you here, James. Just a strong season, really. I mean, like you said, Welbeck. I mean, how he or Dominic Calvert-Lewin aren't in the England squad over, over Ivan Toney, for example. But anyway, yeah, had a great season. As you say, I think Minter was pretty good. Pascal Gross coming back obviously was good. I mean, I'm trying to think other standout players. I mean. What's his name? Baleba. I don't know whether
He's been okay.
yeah, whether he's going to be there or not because he was obviously linked to Man United last season, things like this. So you never know. Maybe there's a couple of overhauls in the squad potentially, but Conference League, like Adam said, I think you can pretty much anyone from the Premier League could go to the Conference League and probably get progress quite far into the competition. So I think Brighton will be more than capable of doing so next season. So. I mean, obviously missed out on the Europa League, but still a good season for Brighton.
Matt, anything you want to add, or should we just move on to the tunes?
Yeah, I'm quite jealous how you got it over the line because obviously I think me, James, and Callum have quite a lot in common in the sense that we're all very much in this conversation of finishing in those places. And then Brighton have won 2 of the last 5, which isn't an amazing record, but it was enough to get it over the line. Obviously, Everton didn't win a single one of our last 5, so a lot of jealousy there.
Okie dokie. Right, let's move on then to Newcastle, the Magpies. Oh, Callum.
Skip to Everton. Skip to Everton. I don't want to talk.
I assume you've got quite a bit to say here.
Sunderland.
I'll try to keep.
Yeah, and
Listen, James, I'm going to talk
finished-
about it. All right, leave me alone.
Where did Sunderland finish? 7th.
7th. They've got Europa League football. And they finished higher than Brighton, so there.
Oh,
That's fine. I don't care. I'm up for Sunderland.
wow. That has to be one of the best promoted teams
We beat them.
finishes
You didn't.
in quite a while.
Yeah, you're right. They did the double over us as well. So embarrassing.
All right then. So yeah, on to Newcastle, who finished 12th on 49 points.
Yep.
Callum, how are you feeling?
Well, we finished above Everton on goal difference.
Silver linings.
I don't know. To be honest with you, where loads of things went wrong. I mean, we had a period of time where I think we didn't win a Premier League game for 7 whole games, where we would have lost or drawn in that time. I think mid-season, I'm fairly certain we were sitting in 6th, and I was saying how we'd been on a decent run of maybe 3 wins in the last 4 games, and we were sort of fighting for those European places, and then we just. I mean, could it have been the Champions League? We obviously had a massive sort of defeat to Barcelona, which I'll come to, and trying to we were still in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup by that point as well. So we were playing 2 games a week, and the squad depth might have just been kind of poor. It's just, yeah, it's a lot of things really. I mean, we won 14, we lost 17 in the league, drew 7. It's our lowest finish in the Premier League under Eddie Howe. Like a sole season under Eddie Howe, it's our lowest, a league finish with just him in charge. Lots of people were calling for him to get the sack. To be honest, I think at some stage I was on board with the get him out kind of vibe because of, I mean, even the last time we'd had Champions League football, we didn't do as well in the Premier League, but we didn't finish 12th. We finished 7th, I think it was, in that season a couple of years ago. So it's regression of a project that was supposed to be seeing us move forward, not backwards. And whether he's to blame for that, because of course he did obviously have sole transfer control basically last summer when our director of football and CEO left and all this kind of stuff. So there wasn't really a lot going on behind the scenes for him. But it's really weird. It's inconsistency because we've in the league this season, we beat Brighton a couple of weeks ago, actually. We've beaten City like right at the start of the season, I think November. We beat United a couple of weeks ago. We beat Chelsea in March. I know that's not really that difficult, but Chelsea were in an okay position when we beat them. But then equally, we've also lost to West Ham. We've lost to Forest. We lost to Brentford, and the Brentford had a good season, but it's just not been poor, to be honest. Got to the semi-final, lost of the Carabao Cup, lost to Man City. Drew City again in the FA Cup in one of the earlier rounds when we could have gotten York City or something and lost to them pretty early when we had to beat Bournemouth and Villa to get to that next point as well. Decent Champions League run. I mean, we beat Benfica, PSG, we beat Union Saint-Gilloise, Karabakh, and whatever. Drew with PSG, which really we probably could have won because I think Harvey Barnes hit the post in the kind of stoppage time. And then we also drew with Barcelona at St. James's Park when we gave away a penalty in literally the last seconds of the game. So we could feasibly have beaten Barcelona and PSG this season, and obviously didn't. Then we got smashed in the round of 16 by Barcelona on the second leg, at least, away at the Nou Camp. Just inconsistency. Lost to Sunderland twice. They've got Europa League football, and we don't have anything, including Voltemada. It went wrong for Voltemada when he scored that own goal. That had Sunderland beat us 1-0 in the first fixture for us, but he's still our third best performing player of the season. He's got 15 goal contributions this season, which is not bad for him, but most of them came before December, to be fair. He was on fire when he first started, and then Eddie Howe started playing him like in midfield in a sort of cam position, whether or not that's where he wanted to be. It all just kind of got really messy. Anthony Gordon was our leading contributor this season, 22 goals and assists, but most of them were in the Champions League and most of them were penalties. So that's what you can say about that. Probably Harvey Barnes is probably our best performing player generally because he got 21 goal contributions. Most of those came from open play as well, not like Gordon, although you obviously need someone to put away the penalties. Malik Chow, centre-back, was really quite strong for the most part. Tino Livramento had a lot of injuries. Hall was injured for a little while. Bruno was injured for a little while. I think we did lose quite a few players to injury at one stage or another. But the transfers, I mean, Anthony Elanga, I think, has maybe scored about 3 goals and maybe had not really many assists for 55 million. Johan Wissa, 50 million. He was injured when he came in. He scored about maybe 2 goals in the first few games back, and then since then he's just missed every chance he's been given. Jacob Ramsey, to be fair to him, has actually done okay, but in terms of his output, there hasn't really been much there as well. It's just, to be fair, the last couple of weeks, one thing that has been good is William Asula. I think he scored about 5 goals in his last 8 games, maybe, because he's had to start a striker because we can't start Wissa. We haven't been starting Voltemada there either. No signings in January, but really, it's just been poor. We just need to move on from it, put it behind us. If Eddie Howe is going to stay in charge, we need a good, summer transfer window, and we need to have a strong start to the season. Because if he has a poor start, I can see him being gone by, October, November, something like that. I don't know how long he'll get to really show that the faith is still in him, to be honest. Kieran Trippier and Emil Kraft, their contracts are up. They're both leaving at the end. Adam, I know that you're thinking about some Crafts probably, or laughing at something else.
That's a FIFA joke. So yeah, if you
Fabian Schär He's out of contract, but apparently he's been offered an extension. Ramsdale's leaving off his loan. Anthony Gordon apparently is going to Bayern Munich for about 80 million euros or something. He's not played in our last 5 games. I'm fairly certain he's gone. Sandro Tonali could be gone. He and Bruno have been linked to various clubs in the Premier League and outside of it, so I think one of them will probably go. Hopefully not Bruno. I'd be more happy to see Tonali leave than Bruno. Though I do think Tonali kind of owes us some loyalty, considering we stuck with him for 10 months when he had his betting ban. But, hey, that's just me. But Nick Pope might leave. Tino Livramento has been linked with a move away. So is Lewis Hall recently. The problem with not getting European football in a project that's supposed to be moving forward is retaining players. So, big squad overhaul is probably coming this summer, where hopefully Eddie Howe will get more chance to work with Ross Wilson and David Hopkinson, the new sort of hierarchy, to hopefully get some solid kind of European talent in, rather than trying to focus on competing with clubs that have more attraction than us, potentially, like we did last year, obviously a lot. Yeah, I think Eddie Howe needs to do something pretty quickly at the start of the season, show that he still deserves to be there, or he will be replaced. And it's kind of frustrating that you have a manager like Iriola who's leaving Bournemouth, and I'm not saying he'd come to Newcastle anyway, because to be fair, I mean, Bournemouth have just finished in the Europa League places as well, so he's leaving a Europa League club now. So if that's kind of frustrating, that maybe we could have had the opportunity to bring him in, but I've got to believe in Eddie Howe, because he's been the man for us over the last couple of years. And it's a low finish, but it's just got to put it behind us now. See who we've got left when the season starts. See who we've brought in when the season starts, and then just rebuild and go from there.
Okay, yeah, very, very well put, Callum. Some good points there. Before we continue about talking about Newcastle, obviously, welcome, Luke.
Hello.
uh, our congratulations, obviously, to the Gunners on the big Premier League win. Look, obviously, we'll get to Arsenal. We'll get to the Premier League. Well, what's the Premier League? We'll get to Arsenal's big Premier League title victory in a minute, but we're going to go to Everton first. But before we get to Everton, sorry though, Matt, any thoughts on Newcastle before we get to the Toffees?
Yeah, just disappointing. I think it's.
Yeah.
I think. You like you said, you're going to lose a lot of players who want to play European football, especially people like Lewis Hall, who didn't get an England squad, who want to fight for his place back again. You'll keep a few players, but some people want to leave and that'll just be a downfall for you guys. So you got to hope that you can either bring players in who will pick it back up and go again, because the teams around you are going to strengthen as well. So, and they'll have European football to bring players in. So, Bournemouth, Sunderland, and us are going to strengthen more, and you get fear of getting left behind. But I think you're still a big club. You'll still get players who want to come to Newcastle for the stature of the club. So.
I also forgot to mention that we lost 27 points from winning positions this season, which is more than any. But and I know, like, I've said this a couple of times, and it's like it's whatever, because we didn't win the games. But if it had stayed 1-0 in whatever games those were, even half of those points makes such a massive difference. So it just goes to show, like, Eddie Howe's seeing out of games, or tactically or defensively or whatever, we've just been so poor like that. Even half of them, 13 more points, that puts us in Champions League places. I mean, like, it's potato, but it's whatever. But it's the point of, like, trying to see out games, maybe sitting back and not attacking to finish games off, things like this. And it's who you blame for that, but it's still got to be considered in the conversation.
Before we move on, yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between Liverpool and Newcastle this season. Lost a big player in the summer, brought some new players in, spent a lot of money, and it hasn't worked
Some of
out.
those were mutual, by the way.
Yeah, and it hasn't worked out. So I think obviously it's just a bit higher in the table, but quite similar, quite a lot of similarities, I think. But yeah, hopefully he's hoping next season he can get back in that top 10 for the Magpies. Right then, let's continue with the Toffees. Good old Everton. So, Matt, how are you feeling right now? 13th place finish. Joint on goal difference, or just less goal difference than Newcastle, but same on points. How are you feeling? I know a few Everton fans are a bit like we had end of the season on a bit of a downslide, but how are you feeling?
Yeah, so one goal fewer than Newcastle on goal difference.
Mm.
We actually lost less games than Newcastle. It's just crazy that the way that it's worked out. I'm just first and foremost apologies on behalf of Everton. The fact we couldn't relegate Spurs today. I just think it's the most Everton thing ever. That because I think Leeds have been in pretty decent form, very very decent form recently. So the fact that they could get battered 3-0 by West Ham, but Everton just don't do their bit, and I think the whole country has had a taste of what it's like to be an Evertonian today. We're a team that we will creep up the table. This is why we're such a stable club in general. We can get results, but when it matters, you can forget it. It's funny that Arsenal have always been called the bottlers, and it's us that seem to just let it slip. We haven't won in over 2 months since we beat Chelsea. When we went into the match after that against Liverpool, I think we were in shot for 5th place if we won that game, which was very, very close to happening. Obviously, there was a last minute equaliser from Liverpool. We haven't won since then. We've lost to the likes of West Ham, Spurs. We've drawn with Palace with a late equaliser. Nearly beat Man City, late equaliser. Lost 3-1 to Sunderland at home. I know they've got Europe, but it's not ideal. I really don't. It's been a really miserable 3 months. A lot of Blues have called this season very blissfully disappointing, which is an interesting phrase. I think the idea is that we're obviously really disappointed that we didn't get Europe, but to even be in that conversation is completely different to 3 years ago. 3 years ago, it would have been us fighting for relegation on the final day, whereas we were mathematically safe ages ago. We are lucky that we're not in these relegation positions anymore, but the fact that we were in shot of Europe, I really, really wish we just got that over the line. I can't believe the scale that we've bottled it to. It's the constant draws, the constant late goals conceded. I think in the cup as well, played one FA Cup match. We lost to Sunderland at home. League Cup, we beat Mansfield. Then we lost to Wolves. I just think it's absolutely insane. And to think that we realistically could have had Europe is mental. We definitely need 2 new fullbacks. Everyone's making a big thing about Coleman leaving. Club legend, absolute legend, but he's not been first team quality in probably 5 years or so. He's not looked fit any time that he's come on, and he was actually responsible for the goal that we conceded last week. So we desperately have needed fullbacks anyway. Hopefully, we're going to spill a bit of money on them now that we have lost Coleman. And we need a striker who can actually score goals, because generally our top scoring players are midfielders, which is not ideal for a team that is within those European places. I would say I'm very disappointed. I feel like most of the season I was very optimistic. I predicted us to finish 11th in the mid-season review, and it was very much looking on track to be a little bit better than that. I felt like we might come 8th or 9th. These past 2 months have been a joke, to be honest, and I would definitely not sack Moyes. I think that's a bit too harsh, but I think we need some serious money invested into strikers and fullbacks.
Yeah, it's interesting points there, Matt. I've heard from obviously I listen to Talk Sport and Radio Merseyside or the Total Sport, and Everton fans seem to be split down the middle. Like you're quite disappointed, but then some of them are saying, a year and a half ago, you were facing relegation under Sean Dyche, and Moyes came in and steadied the ship, and it's been a solid-ish first season, solid-ish, like you said, but it's just fallen apart at the last few hurdles. Yeah.
I think what's really interesting is we
Mm.
finished in the exact same spot as last season, which firstly indicates stability, but secondly, it's really annoying because I think we have had it doesn't make mathematical sense to say this, but it's felt like we have had a better season than last season for certain. The fact that Europe was talked about till probably 3 weeks ago, it was like Europe's off. mathematically today, we still technically could have got Europe, technically. So it still feels like we've had a much better season than last season. But there we go, in 13th yet again. So maybe that's a good thing that we brought stability back. But also, I just don't think that that place represents us at all, very annoyingly.
Okay, anything you lads want to add on Everton before we move on?
I just want to get it out the way, Matt. You apologise to nobody. You have done your job this season. Thank you very much. Tieno Barry has a place at the parade next week.
Oh dear me.
Of course, I suppose there is that, isn't it? Yeah.
We did you a favour there, but if Barry could have probably scored 2 goals today, he would have a statue outside the Emirates.
Oh, 100%.
That would have been
I'll
perfect.
take the
Won
title.
Arsenal the league and got Tottenham relegated. Could you imagine that?
Wow.
You would
That
have
would
a
have been quite
statue,
something.
that's right.
I think the injury to Jack Grealish, because Jack Grealish started the season off really well, then obviously got injured, stuff like this, and then he sort of didn't, because I think him and NGI were really kind of clicking together, and then Dewsbury Hall had a really good season. James Garner's had a really good season. Like there's a lot of really good like core players to Everton's team. Pickford obviously speaks for himself. England's number one. Come on, England. It's the only time I will ever support Jordan Pickford is when he plays for England, because he's a Mackham. And then you just have you do have a decent squad. I mean, maybe a striker. Barry took a little time to actually score and get into it, but then he did improve as the season went on. He's obviously only quite young still, but yeah, I mean, decent season, probably better than Newcastle's season, I would say, given the fact it's the first time in a couple of years you haven't really been struggling towards the bottom of the table. So even though you are finishing in a similar position, it still has been better than previous seasons, of course.
Absolutely.
So obviously up the top, not up the top. He's just. I just felt like for general context. Sorry.
Wow, someone's swapping sides.
Can someone click that?
That's
Yeah, we're
definitely
gonna click that up.
We remember that.
But here's hoping Everton have a stronger season next year. Same with Newcastle, yeah. Okie dokie then. Well, on to Luke with Arsenal. And woohoo! I'm sure Luke is absolutely buzzing right now. Duh. Arsenal's first league title in over 20 years. It's been a long, arduous wait, Luke, as Liverpool fans know, when we won it in 2020. Obviously, after being the runners-up for 3 years in a row, how are you feeling right now, Luke, to finally get over the line?
Yeah, absolutely over the moon. As you say, over 20 years, 22 years to be exact. Me and my brother have been in contact all day because it's his fault. I supported Arsenal and my uncle as well. But he's on holiday at the minute with his 2 kids and his wife. And he's been sending me photos of him and his nephew celebrating the trophy lift. And it's funny, his nephew's only 5, but he rings big when I was only a year older than him the last time Arsenal lifted a trophy. And I'm 28 now. So
Was that pretty much when me and you met, was it?
What was that?
Probably when me and you met for the first time, wasn't it?
It probably was,
year
yeah.
one.
Around then, yeah. Yeah, it's been very emotional. I don't know if I put in our group chat or not, but I've said to my brother, there was tears shed on Tuesday night. I thought I'd be fine today because the relief was over. We'd been claimed champions, but when I seen Arteta start crying, I was sent over the edge. I started crying again. But it's thanks to him that we've got into this position. We started off, I think it was eighth twice, then 5th, then second, then second, then second, then number 1, baby. Got there in the end. We've had a lot of criticism this season, as I'm sure you're all aware, and some of it has been fair. We haven't played the best football, but it's not always the best football that wins titles, which we have learned, because I would say 2 years ago we were going away to loads of teams, going away winning 4th, 5, sometimes 6-0. And we ended up second best because we lost one game in the whole second half of the season. But we've managed to get away this season with 1-0 after 1-0 after 1-0 after 1-0 after set piece after set piece after set piece. And it is the defence that has won this Premier League title. If it wasn't for, you know my opinion on Bruno Fernandes, so I won't go into that. If it wasn't for him this season, my Premier League player this season would actually be our goalkeeper. And that might say a lot about the way we played this season. But David Raya has been probably one of Arteta's greatest signings. And at the time, he was criticised because we obviously had Aaron Ramsdale, and I think he'd won the Golden Glove the year before we'd signed Raya. But he did make a few mistakes, and obviously that signing's paid off, and well, big time it's paid off. I don't really need to say more than that on David Raya. So I've got here, well, the key moment of the season probably was, well, two key moments with Raya involved, both in the same game. Obviously, his save against Fernandes to start with against West Ham, and then obviously the VAR moment I'm sure we're all aware of. But going on to that with the defence, I'm sure if you go back to the halfway point of the season when we made our last video, I wasn't the biggest advocate of Victor Gyökeres, but I'm sure this season, this half of the year, I think he's the highest goal scorer in the Premier League. I might be wrong on that, but he's definitely got more than Haaland. He's got 21 goals and 3 assists in all competitions. And obviously that's got us into a Champions League final as well, with some of the goals that he scored against Atletico Madrid and the likes of Inter Milan and other teams that deserve to be in that position in Europe. So he's done a lot better than I expected of him at that point in the season, but hopefully there's more to come from him because he has blew hot and cold. But here we are, so I can't really complain. We signed him to score goals and he's scoring goals. Another thing I've got written down here is the mentality shift. If you go back to the Man City game, I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks ago, Declan Rice got absolutely slated for the "it's not done" mouth, in other words, to the camera. Gary Neville said if he was in my team, he'd be getting absolutely slated. But he's proved right, and here we are again. Once that game was over, we've won pretty much every game since then, and kept a lot of clean sheets until today. So the fair play, Declan Rice. Another thing for today, we've had Max Darman to celebrate. He's just finished his GCSEs this week and he's become the youngest player to start a Premier League game. Obviously, he's the youngest player to score a Premier League goal, the youngest player to get a Guard of Honour, obviously the youngest player to lift the Premier League. So it's a fair play to Max. Going on to next season, it's going to obviously, there's a bit of a window opening right now because obviously Liverpool seem to be in a bit of a transition, losing Salah, Robertson, and possibly Alisson. And we've already seen this season that they've struggled regardless of that fact. Man City are obviously in a bit of transition with Pep leaving, Stones leaving, Bernardo Silva leaving. Good riddance to him because I do not like that man. And any other the title contenders, bring them on. Like Xabi Alonso has got a lot of work to do at Chelsea. I'm sure Adam will come on to that about his thoughts on Xabi. But yeah, it's looking optimistic. We can make 1 or 2 signings. Linked with Julian Alvarez, of course, ex-Man City, Atletico Madrid player. Excellent striker, but as I say, Gyökeres is bagging the goals. So whether we need him or not, I don't know. Also linked to Creepy Jr., the man to get the title over the line for Arsenal. He's had one hell of a season, but I imagine Bournemouth are wanting a lot of money for him, over 100 million, I would assume. And also Bradley Barcola, the PSG left winger, but I think Liverpool are also linked to him, so we'll see what happens there. But other than that, we've got a Champions League final to look forward to, and I think the pressure is off the players now because the fans aren't bothered if we win it or not because we've got something over the line, which a lot of people didn't think we would do. So if we win the Champions League final, it's a massive bonus. But if we don't, then I don't think, well, we won't care ourselves because we've done something that was looking unlikely after finishing second 3 times in a row. But if we do, then Mikel Arteta will go down as one of Arsenal's greatest managers because obviously we've never won the Champions League before. And these players will all go down as legends. So fingers crossed for them and let's make it happen, hopefully.
That was a good point what you just made there, Luke. Obviously, you have won the Premier League now, so there's hardly any pressure going into the Champions League final. I mean, PSG, we can all agree, are heavy favourites.
Yeah,
So
100%.
you should just go into that game and just give it everything you have got. PSG, as we know, are absolutely world class, but you have got to the final as well. So it should be a very, very intriguing game next weekend. Yeah. Anything you lads want to add on Arsenal before we move on? Please say yes.
I mean, just congratulations. Obviously, at the end of the day, 3 back-to-back second place finishes, and finally got it over the line. It's 85 points for. I'm not sure exactly where that ranks in terms of recent totals to win win Premier Leagues, but obviously it's
Can I just say Liverpool had 1 less point last season?
Oh, all right. Well, there you go then. So there you go. I stand corrected. But it just seems like obviously one of those when Man City and Liverpool were both finishing with century points. We're not quite there anymore in terms of. But that just goes to show you maybe the sort of what would you call it, the
quality of the
sort
league.
of, yeah, exactly, the quality of the league and the fact that there's quite a few different players around there. Like even Manchester United only finished 7 points behind Man City, which you maybe wouldn't have said they would have done at the start of the year when they still had Ammer in charge and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll obviously come to top 6 and stuff like this a little bit later on. But yeah, Arsenal did the squad depth. I mean, yeah, like Luke said, maybe there's been some questions over their style of football and how they maybe sat back and set piece. Again, ole, that kind of stuff, But it's at the end of the day, the job's done. So it doesn't really matter how you got there; it's done. So congratulations to Arsenal.
Yeah, congrats. I guess. I mean, the only downside to no, as I was saying, the only downside to it all is out of the cracks come these absolute delusional Arsenal fans on TikTok and Twitter, who I'm pretty sure compared said Declan Rice is better than Prime Xavi and Raya is better than Prime Neuer. So no, but congrats nonetheless. But get off Twitter, please, Arsenal fans.
I saw a list the other day. I'm not sure who created it, but apparently it put Mikel Arteta as the 8th best manager to ever grace the Premier League. I'm fairly certain. At least that was some kind of list of 25 that I saw. I'm not sure who created it.
Going off that though, how many managers have won the Premier League? Can't be too much more than 10.
I mean, since 94, since its inception, I don't know. I mean, Sir Alex Ferguson's won about 10 of them. So, obviously, Pep Guardiola's won quite a few, hasn't he? Yeah, it'd be interesting to see actually how many people have actually won it generally.
Yeah.
But Mourinho won a few.
Arteta is the 13th manager to win.
So you can't be too far away from the
Well,
top
no,
10.
that's fair enough then. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, Matt, anything you want to add before we move on?
I don't think I have much to add on top of that. I think there was too many. I think I said this in the mid-season review. Like Arsenal come second too many times for it to be another second place. I just thought it was going to be one of two extremes, and then they finally have got it over the line. So congratulations.
Well, yeah, you were the one in our season predictions to predict Arsenal to win the league. I think it was mid-season. We were all like, it's come true. So yeah. Mystic Matt.
Yeah, I think even I said Liverpool to win the league at the start of the season.
Yeah, I think so. I just had a feeling for sure. I just think it's come so close many times. It just couldn't be another second place. I just think that would have been ridiculous. So I just had a feeling.
Yeah, I just thought the same as you, like come second place so many times. I just thought you can only do that so many times before you start falling out of love with the project.
For sure.
Right then, on to Liverpool then, lads. It's
Somebody was right about
Alexander
something.
Isak, ole ole.
you know
Sorry.
he's yeah, well he's the reason he had such a shit season because he's buggered off. So yeah, celebrate that all you want. So to say this has been a disappointing season, I'd say it wasn't is an understatement compared to how the highs of last season. You know, this time last year there was a parade around the city. Arnie Slot winning the Premier League in his first season. Um, and then obviously we spent a lot of money in the summer. A lot of players did leave, obviously, which I will get to. Obviously, we've talked about this a lot with the tragic passing of Diogo Jota, but a lot of other players did leave to other clubs. But we did spend over 400 million in the summer. I think I'm kind of repeat. I'm just going to repeat myself mostly from the mid-season review. I'm trying to going to just try and keep it condensed because I could talk like half an hour about Liverpool season really. So after we spent over 400 million on new players, thinking, okay, this is this is looking good, and yeah, after a good start, it all came tumbling down. Said all this in the mid season, and it's just been such an mediocre season for the whole season. Like there's been little glimmers, little shines of the Liverpool of old, or what we can do when we play well, but it's oh, this might be one of the most disappointing Premier League seasons I've seen from Liverpool. Not maybe not since Brendan Rodgers or Roy Hodgson in 2010. It's just been so bang average. And when you look at the squad we have, it's like this just shouldn't be happening. So I think there's just a lot of things have gone wrong this season. So 60 points, which is our lowest Premier League points tally since Klopp's first season in charge, but he was taking over the Brendan Rodgers squad. It's 24 points lower than last season. So 17 wins, 9 draws, and 12 losses. Yeah, 12 defeats. That is the most we've had in a Premier League season since the 14-15 season. That was when we had like Ricky Lambert and Mario Balotelli up front. Jesus Christ. Uh, and we actually finished 2 points higher that season. Um, so what's gone wrong this season then, lads? I'd say the new signings just haven't worked. Apart from Ekatike, he's had a very good season, 17 goals in all competitions. Unfortunately, though, he's picked up a very nasty injury and he's going to be out till I've heard in November, Christmas. That's a massive blow. Isak hasn't worked out so far, but he does have a bit of an excuse. Like I say, he's had massive. He's had a massive injury. Then he's injured again, and had no preseason. He's not match fit. So I
Excuses,
do think
excuses.
it's good excuses. And I think next season, when he's fit and he's in form, I do think we'll see a much better Isak than we saw at Newcastle. Wirtz has been so up and down. I'm hoping he just needed one season to bed into how the Premier League is compared to the Bundesliga, and I'm really hoping next season can be the season we see the proper Wirtz. Frimpong and Kirkez, they've not really worked out as the new left back and right back. Frimpong's been injured a lot. Kirkez, if he's meant to be like Andy Robertson's replacement, which I think he is, and I don't see it personally. I hope he can improve next season. And Marmadashvili's filled in for Allison a few games, and he's looked good, but a replacement for Allison, I don't think so. And Mohamed Salah having a massive drop off quite sad to see. Absolute club legend, but he's had a massive drop off this season. Gakpo as well, one of his worst seasons. And the football this season has been highly criticised. The way we've played this season under Arnie Slot, I think you could say this is his first proper season playing his football, not adapting to a Jurgen Klopp squad like he did last year. It's like more of his football, his signings, and the football has just been really slow, safe, and boring is the best way I'd describe it. Some of the most boring football I've seen probably since the days of Brendan Rodgers. And booze at Anfield, which is so rare. When we drew to Spurs, when we drew to Chelsea, and which is something you just very rarely hear. Um, and what else can I say? I've got so many notes here. I'm trying to condense it down. Um, I think not enough has been mentioned about the players we lost in last year. You can say, "Oh, we spent 400 million and we've gotten worse," huh? But I think losing Jota was massive. I think that's impacted the squad much bigger than it has been mentioned. Diaz and Trent, huge misses. I'll say that. Nunes and Kwanzaa, I think we missed them too, especially how rickety the defence has been. We have conceded 53 goals this season. That is our worst in any Premier League season. 53 goals. So I think the defence definitely needs some work in the summer. But am I Arnie slot out like a lot of Liverpool fans at the minute? Right now, I'm not, because I think a lot of things have worked against him this season. And I think once we get a lot of players back from injury, and with a few new reinforcements in the summer, if we get off to a good start, I think a lot of those Arnie Slot critics will come roll back. But I think this just has to be a one-off season. We've got to bounce back next season and get back to competing next season. It's a massive summer ahead of the club. I think with another 300 million quid's going to get spent, to be honest, because we need several new players. We need a new defensive midfielder. I think McAllister's had a massive drop off this season. We need some support for right backs. Connor Bradley's had massive injuries, and Frimpong. We need some new centre backs. I know Giovanni Leone got injured, and he's like a one for the future. He might come in. And of course, a Mohamed Salah replacement. We need a new right winger. Obviously, we're looking at new players for that. And today was very emotional. Mohamed Salah and Andy Robertson's final game at Anfield, end of an era. Those two have been absolute legends for the better well, nine years. And Salah will go down as one of the greatest players in the club's history, over 250 goals, so many assists. He's third highest goal scorer in the club's history. So that's massive losses right there. Um, and that's all I've really got to say. I'm just trying to condense it all down. Look at disappointing results this season. Man City battered us in the FA Cup 4-0. One of the worst results of the season. PSV beat us 4-1 at Anfield in the group stages. Nottingham Forest beat us 3-0 at Anfield. And we did get to the Champions League quarter-finals, but PSG just completely outplayed us. They're just too good, PSG. They are. Made us look so ordinary. Well, we are ordinary this season. But like I've said, a big summer is needed to change this around, I think. But this can't be a one-off, and we need to start next season strongly, or Slot will be under massive pressure. And I think there's a very good chance if we start badly next season, Slot will be gone by October, November, and then the new manager's going to have to come in and make it work with his style of play. So. Yeah, lads. That's all I've really got to say. Anything you want to add? Let me know.
I mean, Leone did his ACL, didn't he? I
Yeah.
think quite early on in the season. I think you've already signed another defender, haven't you? Is he
Jeremy
Frenchman? Jeremy
Jacquet.
Jacquet or something, I
Yeah.
think it is. I think he's quite young as well, though, so it's not like a permanent solution. But Van Dijk's going to be what? How old's Van Dijk going to be?
34, 35, I
35
think.
or something. Allison has been unusually injured quite a bit. Mabarashvili came in, got injured. Then you had to play Freddie Woodman over the last couple weeks, and he was a Newcastle reject. Played for Preston North End until most recently. So I can't say I'm surprised that he didn't quite go to plan. But it was really weird. I mean, obviously Jota was nothing could have been done about that. Rest in peace. But selling Diaz, who's just had such an immense season for Bayern Munich as well, and then not really replacing a left-sided sort of winger. Like a lot of that, I mean, I'm not just saying this because, but 150 million on Isak after signing Ekitike that could have gone on to a left-sided winger that would have probably been much more better served, in replacing Diaz because you never really replaced him. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Players get injured. Ekitike got injured. Isak had his injury problems throughout the season. So sometimes we were playing without a striker, realistically. Salah's drop off. You started the season well, as you say, but again, it was like last season. It was like getting a goal here and there towards the end of the games to win or to draw or things like this. And then it just kind of stopped working for you. But I mean, like you said, I'm sure you've got money to burn because Klopp wasn't exactly a massive spender, so I'm sure you still have some more in the tank to get a couple more players and to fix this season's problems.
Well, yeah, just going off that, I wanted to ask you, Adam, what are your thoughts on Harvey Elliott this season, and do you think he could come in for Salah's position next season?
I really like Harvey Elliott. My dad's a big fan of his as well, and to see him just sitting on the bench at Villa all season's heartbreaking. Even though he did win a Europa League winners medal, but he was like a participation trophy because I was like, hello. So, but he's coming back next season. Yeah, I really hope Slot plays him, and I I don't, was he good enough to be Salah's replacement? I'm not sure, but he's got pace. And I really like Harvey Elliott, but Slot just didn't really play a lot of him in the last season. So we'll see if he can win Slot over and trade in pre-season. But yeah, I'd gladly have him back. And there have been some positives. We've got Champions League football by the skin of our teeth, so that's sort of for next season. Dominic Szoboszlai has been incredible this season. He's like carried us at some points with his free kicks. And Rio Ngamoa looks absolutely incredible. 17 years old, and he's just blistering down those wings. So, but we can't rely on a 17-year-old kid. So, I think we've got to use him sparingly, otherwise we'll just wear him out. So, anything, James, Matt, you want to add before we move
Sorry
on?
again.
Oh, sorry,
Just
go on,
just
Luke.
to
Go
go
on.
off from that. You're saying you can't rely on a 17-year-old. That's what Barcelona have done this season.
Yeah,
So
we're not Barcelona then. Not this season.
I think Rio is genuinely your best attacker this season. Just on the eye test, maybe not
Oh,
statistically,
yeah,
but
yeah, I
going
get
at
that.
players dribbling wise and
Mm. Well,
getting a
the
shot away on
fans
the
love
edge
it
of the box.
when Slot took him off in the Chelsea game. The fans booed him. So that's how much the fans like him. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure he's getting. I'm sure he's getting called up to the England squad to take the place of a couple of Arsenal players and stuff who are Champions Leaguing and stuff like that. Or
Mm.
I'm fairly certain that he's training with the England squad to
Yeah,
do
he's
up
in
the
the
numbers
training
for a
squad.
little bit. So that just kind of shows how even Tuchel thinks pretty highly of him as well.
Yeah, but so is Joe's Jason Steele, so you can't really say much about
Oh
that, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah, right.
Matt, anything you want to add, or we can move on to just stats?
Yeah, everything there has been covered.
Yeah.
I mean, great that you like. I would have given anything to finish fifth. It's just funny that you're like it's so disappointing. Like that would have been amazing.
Okay, fair enough. Right. So we'll go on to just the top 10. So if anyone has the Premier League table in front of them, we'll
I've got
just
it
cover.
open.
So we'll just cover like the team, any surprises. Obviously, we've talked about where our teams have finished, but so top 10 is as it reads: Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Villa, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Sunderland with Europa League, Brighton with Conference League, Brentford ninth, and Chelsea 10th. And Fulham are 11th, obviously on the same.
Ah,
Yeah, Chelsea. I mean,
so
Chelsea
happy to
big fall off this season for Chelsea. Anything you lads want to comment about Chelsea
they deserve
and
it.
Spurs?
Absolutely deserve it. They've the problem with Chelsea is they've basically just gone, oh, let's just spend money on whoever we want and try and build this massive team of egos because they think, oh, everyone has a team of egos, but they just don't. When you buy 26 players and you're going to play 11 of them, they're not going to gel well when you're having to play 11 different players every week. And they suffered the fact that they went 7 games without scoring or 7 defeats in a row or something like that. I thought Rafinha should never have gone to Chelsea. Good luck to Xabi Alonso. I think if he struggled to keep up the egos of Real Madrid, he's going to struggle hard with Chelsea's, and he'll be gone by January. I think Alonso won't last the season. So
Yeah, Rossini was a matter of convenience, really, wasn't he, with the whole link with Strasbourg and stuff like that, and how they could just be brought in, basically not really having to have much of a care. I suppose it was maybe worth a punt, but I mean, at the end of the day, Maresca leaving kind of ruined their season, to be honest. And now he's replacing Pep at Man City, or at least that's what the most obvious thing is. And yeah, they just dropped off. But I mean, Chelsea's team, like João Pedro had a great season. Esteval was really like sort of exciting and young. Cole Palmer didn't really have the best of seasons, which is probably kind of coinciding with the drop off of Chelsea as well. But I guess seeing them in 10th is a slight shock, but they've also not been amazing the last couple seasons either, in fairness. So I wouldn't really say that their league position is much of a shock. But Sunderland and Bournemouth being in 6th and 7th, I think that's that is a pretty, considering Sunderland. I mean, six. Considering Sunderland, I mean, just first of all, being Newcastle's obviously main rivals, I hate to have to say this, but given the fact that they were newly promoted, they had a brilliant summer transfer window. Granit Xhaka has been like the epiphany of that Sunderland team, and they've just done everything right. And I mean, there was a part of the season where they weren't kind of great in the middle, but they started and ended really strong and got Europa League football. So all the best to Sunderland. And then I mentioned Bournemouth a little bit earlier on. Iriola's done a great job, especially given all of his defenders left. Kirkes left, Zabani left, and Huijsen left. And then Semenyo left in January, and he still somehow managed to get them in 6th. So Iriola is just a miracle worker.
There's rumours going around if Slot gets the sack, Iriola could come in at Liverpool. I mean, just see, watch this space, I guess, for next season if we start poorly. Man United, I think we can all say, much as it pains me to say, have been a big surprise package this season. How bad they were under Amorim first half of the season, but Michael Carrick's come in and got them a 3rd place finish with Bruno Fernandes having topping the Premier League assists record somehow. So, any thought on Man United this season, lads?
Yeah, I just want to say on that, fair play to Bruno. Bruno, like as I mentioned before, you all know my thoughts on Bruno Fernandes, and I'm sure we share a lot of them as well. But Declan Rice has won more games this season than Bruno Fernandes has played. I'll just leave that there.
Okay. Just took some tumbleweed.
I mean, I think
Carrick
can only have lost a couple of games since he came in, right? I'm fairly certain Newcastle handed him his first loss again. In I think it was like maybe 9 games or something.
I think he won 13 out of 17. I think he did.
Well, they didn't win 5 consecutively because that guy still has his haircut.
Yeah, that's true.
So unfortunately, there's been a few draws in there, and that guy's the United Strand. I think is going to have to carry on going until at least September, October, with his hair the way it is.
All right then. So we'll move on from the top half, and we'll go down to the relegation zone. So the 3 teams that went down this season: Wolves on 20 points. Ooh. Burnley on 22 points, and poor old West Ham, who've been in the Premier League for quite a while. Didn't they go down about 10 years ago, something like that?
2011, 2012, yeah.
Great.
No,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, they've gone down on 39 points. Spurs, for the 2nd season in a row, just finished above the relegation zone. Well, last season there was a bit of a gap, wasn't there? But this season, it's just only.
Their time's a charm. Let's go next year.
So yeah, lads, any thoughts on the relegation zone?
It's a bit of a shame for West Ham, isn't it? I mean, 39 points to get relegated on. I mean, 40 points is usually when they say that's the golden number. But I think 39 points over the last, good handful of seasons probably would have been enough to keep you up. And they've gone down with it.
Considering that Forest and Leeds were so bad at the beginning of the season, and then suddenly, just out of nowhere, they both just did like incredible. I think at one point with Leeds, I think who's the manager at Leeds? He was like friends get sacked, and then played Chelsea, Liverpool, and like won loads of games and drew and kept his job and stuff. Forest sacked and brought in Vitor Pereira, who was rubbish with Wolves, and then suddenly went on this massive run. Besides Wolves and Burnley, which, fun fact, Wolves started in 20th and finished in 20th and never left 20th the entire season.
Well, technically, Burnley were 1-0 up earlier, and they technically went ahead of Wolves for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, the only time of the season that they weren't 20th. Yeah, apart from those 2 teams, it was looking like Spurs and West Ham had some competition. Might have survived, and then Forest and Leeds pulled ahead. And it's just a case of if it was a little too late. Whether that goal against Arsenal would have saved them, who knows? I'm sure there'll be debates about that for years to come. But yeah.
They also played really poorly against us. the other week. We beat them. I think what was it? 3-1 or something?
They had so many opportunities to get beyond that point. They hadn't taken the chances. So them's the ways.
Okay then. So, Matt, Luke, anything you want to add on relegation zone before we'll finish off with the stats?
I agree with Colin. It is a shame about West Ham because they do have a fantastic squad in terms of Premier League quality. I think I think he has Tatty on the back of his shirt, like
Oh yeah,
Castellanos.
yeah.
I think he's been a great signing January wise. I think he'll get a great move. He won't play in the Championship. Mateus Fernandes, he's getting linked with us and Man United, so he's going to get a great move. And I know Bowen said in his post-match interview about you're going to hear a load of nonsense now about me moving here, A and B, whatever. He'll get linked to a lot of big clubs, but being the man that he is, I think he'll want to be there to bring them back to the Premier League.
Okay. Matt, anything you want to add before we move on?
Yeah, just very disappointing for West Ham to batter Leeds on the last day. Leeds who've been in pretty okay form. Yeah, a shame that Everton couldn't beat Spurs in 17th place. I feel like even if Spurs were already automatically up today, we shouldn't be losing to a 17th place side anyway. So yeah, very disappointing.
Yeah, I think we can all agree. Wolves and Burnley, they were long gone ages ago. But
Yeah.
very sad to see West Ham go down as well. But I think West Ham will bounce straight back up. They've got a good manager, and they've got some good players in that team. So I think they'll bounce straight back up. West Ham, Wolves and Burnley, maybe not.
I think Scott Parker lasted longer than I thought he would, though. I'm pretty sure at the start of the season I said the last two teams, Fulham and Bournemouth, that he got promoted with, he was sacked within the first few months. But he lasted until, what was it? Maybe March or something. Maybe was it even April? And then
I think it was, yeah.
and then Michael Jackson took over for about 3 games. Sorry.
Oh dear me. Right then, lads. So we'll just end on top player goals and top player assists because that's like they're like the main two. So I'll just do like the top, the top 8, and then we'll just discuss what we think. So Erling Haaland is number 1 with 27 goals. Igor Thiago 22. Semenyo 17. Watkins 16. João Pedro 15. Gibbs White 15. Gyökeres 14, and I'm sure Matt is very happy. Dominic Calvert-Lewin 14 for Leeds. Wow. Where was that goal scoring form when he was with you? Well, when he
was always injured.
Yeah, when he was injured.
There's no sign of this at any point, and he's just decided to do it this season. It's the story of Everton. Yeah.
So anything you want to talk about there, guys? Like obviously Gibbs White has had quite a good season, hasn't he? And João Pedro at Chelsea, even though they've been rubbish. Oh, bye, James.
It makes it more of a head scratcher as to why Gibbs White hasn't made it into the England squad. Being Watkins is the highest scoring England player with only one more, but Gibbs White not making it into the team, and João Pedro not getting chosen for Brazil either as well. I think that's a bit of a I mean, Igor Thiago with 22, obviously that's he's had a great season for Brentford after coming back from injury. Replacing Mbeumo and Wissa, who obviously I've mentioned did absolutely sweet FA for Newcastle. But yeah, Thiago's had a good season. Semenyo scoring for both Bournemouth and City has done, again, impeccable. And then Gyökeres has done, moderately decently. I'm not really sure how many goals Gyökeres has scored against like the top 6 teams that are in. Yeah, that's what I mean. So, he hasn't exactly scored against the higher competitors this season, but enough to still be done pretty all right. So.
Anything else you just want to add, or should we just move to assists?
No, just following on from Callum about Gibbs White. I don't know if you do a lot of England stuff on your channel, Adam, but
not really.
I do find it a bit insane that he's not picked Foden and Palmer based on form, but he's picked, even from an Arsenal fan, he's picked Madueke and Eze ahead of Gibbs White, who has 15 Premier League goals.
Yeah, he got quite defensive, didn't he, Tuchel, when he got asked? It was on BBC News, and he was like, I have to make tough decisions. And no matter what decision I make, there'll be some group of fans saying, you should have picked him, you should have picked him. So at least he's got some balls and taken a few risks. But
Yeah.
if it backfires at the World Cup, he'll be in for a tough time. All right then. So we'll move on, and then
I've got
end.
assists. Do you want to do assists?
Yeah, go on, Callum. You read out the top eight players with assists this season.
Well, there's a couple that I've got the same, so I'll go down
Yeah.
to whoever's in there. So obviously Bruno Fernandes, we've said, has got 21 assists this season. He's by far and large got the most assists. Followed then by Ryan Cherky from Man City. He's got 12, and then Jared Bowen has 11. And again, another one not picked in the England squad. I know that West Ham have just been relegated, but if you're thinking goal contributions, including assists here, then Bowen had to have been a selection headache for Tuchel again instead of a Madueke, for example, playing in the same position. Erling Haaland has 8 assists, so he's got 27 goals and 8 assists, which is not a bad turnaround. And then you've got quite a few different players on 7 assists. You've got Dominic Szoboszlai, James Garner, Harry Wilson, and Mohamed Salah, all on 7 assists for the season. And then below then, you've got 2 Sunderland players, actually. You've got Granit Xhaka and Enzo Lefebvre that have 6 assists each. So not a bad little selection of players there.
Yeah. You happy with James Garner getting 7 assists there, Matt?
Yeah, it's great to see. I think he's been very solid, and I think he's quite a future captain for us for sure. I know there's been a lot of conversation about who's going to take the captain's armband from Coleman. Obviously, it'll be Tarkowski because he's basically been the captain anyway for the past few years. But I do see a future captain in Garner for sure.
What about Harry Wilson, Adam? Because obviously former Liverpool player, has had quite the season for Fulham with his goals and assists. I think he's out of contract, isn't he? As it is now.
Oh yeah, I really like Harry Wilson. I felt a bit bad when we let him go, but that was when we had that absolute world-class team under Jurgen Klopp. So he just couldn't get in. So obviously, but he's gone off and done very well for himself. So fair enough. Right. Well, if anyone not obviously we've lost James. I think he's just lost connection, but we're nearly finished now anyway, so no worries. So before we wrap up, then lads, let's just very briefly predict the Champions League final next weekend. Sorry, Luke. I think he'll put in a valiant effort, but I think PSG are just too good. I think they'll have like 80% possession and just dominate. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going with a PSG win, but the fact he's got to a Champions League final is a massive achievement, as well as winning a Premier League, winning your first Premier League in 20 odd years. So yeah. Well, Callum, what do you think?
I mean, PSG can be hit and miss. I mean, we drew with them 1-1 earlier in the season. So if that's anything to go by, then Arsenal can most certainly beat them because they've beaten us twice this season, Arsenal. So I guess there is that. But I think, flying high from winning the Premier League as well. And, PSG have got a good team, but anything happens on the day. So do you know what? I'm going to back Arsenal to do the double.
Blimey. Okay. Matt?
It really could go either way. I can see it going to extra time or penalties, to be honest. I feel like.
Oh dear.
What's the other one?
Matt, you're frozen.
Though I
Oh,
do think
no.
PSG have proved themselves pretty unstoppable in a lot of ways. What?
Oh, sorry.
What's that?
You froze for like 10 seconds. Sorry, continue.
It's like,
Sorry,
we heard
what was I
PSG.
saying when I froze?
Oh no.
What was I saying when I froze?
Oh, I can't remember. Sorry, I was just focusing on your frozen face. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think it will probably go down to the wire. It will be
Okay.
extra time or penalties, and then PSG will probably just get it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, we all know who Luke's gonna predict. Go on, Luke.
I'm going to go for the dirtiest 1-0, 119th minute after extra time. Gabriel header from a corner.
We don't want it to be like Liverpool and Spurs from 2019, do we?
No way, no. It won't be. It won't be as obviously PSG are favourites, but it won't be as drastic as people think. PSG should beat us on paper, but football isn't played on paper.
It's played on grass.
Wow, that's inspirational.
I mean,
That's inspirational. That is.
that should be a quote, isn't it? Just get
That's that's brilliant. Seriously, I love that.
get that on a football for next season. Right. Okay then, and then to finish off, obviously, lads, the World Cup in the summer. Woo!
Oh
It's going to be
God.
a fun month for football. Very quick. Who have you got? Who are your favourites? I'm just going to say England. I say England all the time. England, even though we probably will get knocked out in the quarters, but I'm just going to
Yeah,
say England for the
let's
fun
go
of
with
it.
it. I'll go with England too.
Woo!
Let's try. We'll try. Let's be optimistic.
Can't bet against them. Let's just hope that Tuchel has made the right selections and the people he's chosen
Yeah.
play for him, and we get in there and we win the World Cup.
Woo!
I
Luke,
just think if we get one injury in that defence, we're screwed. So I'm
Hey,
going
come
for
on now,
Spain.
we've got Big Dan Burn to go in.
Exactly.
Jarell Kwanzaa. He got a goal.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't we talk about Dan Burn's been a good player for England under Tuchel.
Not a left back if O'Reilly gets injured.
Oh, that's a good point. Where's Lewis Hall?
Exactly.
Right then, lads. So we'll leave this here. We'll end that there. So thank you once again. It's been an absolute pleasure. Matt, thank you obviously to your first full year with us on the predictions, with obviously season predictions, mid-season, and season review. So thank you very much for bringing us the blue half of Merseyside this year. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you just your screen keeps crashing. I'm afraid. I think that's a good sign to end. I think maybe your internet connection's like.
I do apologise. I do apologise. Yeah, absolute pleasure.
Yeah, and Callum, Luke, and James, wherever he's gone. Thank you as always, lads. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And I will be here till the end of time.
Yeah. Yeah, Luke, obviously enjoy your summer. And if you win the Champions League, I think we can all just hide for 2 months, can't we, until the season starts again? Oh God! All right, yeah, lads. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you all so much, and
You
we'll
too,
see you
bye.
all. We'll see you all probably in August for the new season predictions.
Yeah.
Thanks, lads.
Thank you.
That's not a thing everyone else knows, Adam.
I know. Yeah, that's like.